ഹലോ നമസ്കാരം. നാവികസേനാ ദിനമാണ്, നേവി ഡേ, ഡിസംബർ 4. 50 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് പാകിസ്ഥാനിലെ കറാച്ചി പോർട്ടിൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിന്ന് പോയ നേവൽ ഫോഴ്സ് തകർത്തെറിഞ്ഞ കറാച്ചിയുടെ പോർട്ടിനെ തകർത്തെറിഞ്ഞ ആ ഓർമ്മയുടെ സുന്ദര ദിവസം കൂടിയാണ്. ഗോൾഡൻ ജൂബിലി ഇയർ ഓഫ് വിക്ടറി എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് പറയാം. സുവർണ ജൂബിലി വർഷ് ആയിട്ട് ആചരിക്കുകയാണ് ഡിസംബർ 4. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ ദിവസത്തിന് ഒട്ടേറെ പ്രാധാന്യമുണ്ട്. എന്തായിരുന്നു കറാച്ചിയിൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ നാവികസേന നടത്തിയ ആ ഓപ്പറേഷൻ ട്രിഡൻറ്റ്? ഒരുപക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ ബലാക്കോട്ട ആക്രമണത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഉറി ആക്രമണവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെടുത്തി സിനിമകൾ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. പോപ്പുലർ കൾച്ചറിൽ ഒന്നും തന്നെ വളരെയധികം ശ്രദ്ധിക്കപ്പെടാതെ പോയ ചില നേവൽ ഓപ്പറേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അത് വളരെ സസ്പെൻസ് നിറഞ്ഞതാണ്, നാടകീയത നിറഞ്ഞതാണ്. ഓപ്പറേഷൻ ട്രിഡൻറ്റിൻ്റെ 50-ാം വർഷം ആഘോഷിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവൽ ഫോഴ്സ് അതിൻ്റെ ചരിത്രത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ വിജയത്തിൻ്റെ 50-ാം വർഷം ആഘോഷിക്കുമ്പോൾ നേരിട്ട് നമുക്കൊപ്പം ഒരു അതിഥി കൂടി ചേരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഞാനിപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത് കൊച്ചിയിൽ ദക്ഷിണ മേഖലാ നാവിക ആസ്ഥാനത്താണ്. നമുക്കൊപ്പം ചേരുന്നത് മറ്റാരുമല്ല, ദക്ഷിണ നാവികസേന മേധാവി വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ AK ചൗല, ഫ്ലാഗ് ഓഫീസർ കമാൻഡിംഗ് ഇൻ ചീഫ് സതേൺ നേവൽ കമാൻഡ്. Welcome, sir, and I appreciate joining us.
Thank you. Wish you a very happy Navy Day.
Thank you, sir. Same to you, sir. It's a pride moment indeed for celebrating 50 years of a great victory over our enemy. This will be a great moment for all the people watching this show. 50 വർഷം നമ്മൾ 1971 പകരം വയ്ക്കാനില്ലാത്ത വിജയം നേടിയ ഇന്ത്യയുടെ വിജയ ചരിത്രമാണ് നമ്മളോട് പറയുന്നത്. We will start with what was it? Karachi, what happened? 1971, December 4 and December 5. Tell the story, sir.
On the night of December 4th, 1971, shortly after the 1971 war between India and Pakistan started, which resulted in the finally the liberation of Bangladesh.
Yeah.
3 missile boats of the Indian Navy were towed by other warships in a very well planned operation from close of Bombay to very close off the coast of Karachi, from where they were launched.
From Mumbai to Karachi.
Mumbai to Karachi.
Right, okay.
And from there they were launched into the attack. And in the attack, they went and attacked the ships, Pakistani naval ships, who were actually very scared of the Indian Navy.
Okay.
So they were not venturing very further off from their own harbour, so they were close to their harbour. So a number of Pakistani Navy ships, 4 of them actually,
Okay.
were sunk. A few merchant vessels which were carrying strategic cargo were hit. And in the second wave of the attack,
And the fuel supply was cut as well.
the
right?
oil installations,
Oh.
fuel dumps, and the ammunition dumps that were there in Karachi harbour were hit and destroyed.
It was a kind of a surgical operation, so we use the new military term. A kind of a surgical operations.
Yes, you can
50
call
years back.
it a surgical operation.
Surgical operations by Indian Navy.
And it was followed by another attack the succeeding night.
Oh, in Python.
Yes.
Yeah. 3 days after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these 2 attacks combined actually demoralized the Pakistan Navy, the bulk of them. After which they never ventured out of harbour.
What was the magnitude of the death or the damage inflicted by that attack?
As per our estimates, 4 of their major combatants were sunk,
Oh, okay.
and a number of
They
warships.
lost their, I think their arm, right?
Yes. And a number of warships and support establishments inside the harbour were damaged badly, so that they could not sail out. The other major impact was that it sort of created a blockade subsequently on the west coast of Pakistan.
Oh, okay.
So the merchant ships which had to resupply
Okay.
Pakistan with fuel, ammunition and other supplies, they were stopped from coming in.
Okay.
And Karachi is the only major harbour that Pakistan has, and that's also their major population center and city center. So it demoralized not just the Pakistan Navy but the Pakistani people.
So the damage was both strategic and psychological.
Absolutely.
Right. So the kind of damage might have sometimes led to the kind of early surrender by the Pakistani forces, right?
It contributed to the surrender. Of course, the operations at sea were not standalone. They were in conjunction. It was truly a joint operation with the operations by the Indian Army on land and the Indian Air Force in the air. So the naval operations are always designed, or should be designed always, to have an impact on the land, because after all, man lives on land. But the seas are vital to his sustenance and his support. So therefore, the naval operations were in conjunction with the army operations along the west, as also in the east. In the east, the navy played a very pivotal role.
And in the Karachi operations, the Vikrant didn't participate.
No, actually, was not required to participate.
Okay.
It was more important for her to be on the east. So the Vikrant not only blockaded the entire, along with the task force, the entire east coast of East Pakistan, but also attacked all the shipping, and the aircraft from Minus Vikrant launched major attacks on Chittagong and Cox's Bazar, the two major harbors,
Okay.
and destroyed ships and enemy ammunition and troops out there. So it actually played a key role in hastening the liberation of Bangladesh by preventing the Pakistan army either from
That time,
being
Pakistan
reinforced.
didn't have that kind of an aircraft carrier. Still, they don't have, I think.
They
right?
don't.
Oh,
They don't.
they
They
don't
don't have the capability.
വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ എ കെ ചൗളയെക്കുറിച്ച് പറയുമ്പോൾ 4 പതിറ്റാണ്ടുകളുടെ ഡിഫൻസ് ഫോഴ്സുമായിട്ടുള്ള പരിചയമുണ്ട് വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ എ കെ ചൗളയ്ക്ക്. നമ്മുടെ കഴക്കൂട്ടവുമായിട്ട് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ബന്ധമുണ്ട്. 2 years you studied in Karakutam Sainya School, right?
Yes, absolutely.
2 years.
Yes.
1970s, right?
1970 to 72.
72. Soon after this, Karachi operations
Yes,
carried out
in
by
between
Indian
that time actually.
Oh, you were there. You were here.
I was here at that time.
Studying in Karakutam
Yes,
School.
absolutely.
And that time, do you recall the kind of joy and the kind of proud these people shared?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, from our school, we watched Vikrant sailing to the east coast.
Haha.
We were taken because the school is situated on a hill, and we actually saw the Vikrant going past, heading towards the east coast. So I remember that very distinctly.
That's and another quite personal question. For example, നമ്മൾക്കെല്ലാം ആർമി എയർഫോഴ്സ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത് ഇന്ത്യൻ പോപ്പുലർ കൾച്ചറിൽ മീഡിയ കൾച്ചറിൽ വളരെയധികം ആഘോഷിക്കപ്പെടുന്ന ഹീറോസാണ്. വാർ ഹീറോസ് are there, many war heroes. അഭിനന്ദൻ വർദ്ധമാൻ. But this Indian Navy is not that much in the popular culture, not depicted war heroes in the movies, not admirals as the popular, or Shah Rukh Khan playing the role of admirals. There are very few things. But still then you opted this diving and naval force as your career. Why?
Well, actually, I always had a fascination for the seas, and the Navy is known as a silent service.
Yeah.
In fact, the submarines are known and the divers are known as the silent arms of the silent service. So they're even more silent.
Yeah.
So I think in a way it is actually the philosophy of life that you should do your duty quietly without making too much noise.
That's great.
And
That's a lesson for
and
you
not
too.
seek credit, unnecessary credit also for it. No, whatever is worth only you should take.
Yeah, that's a great thing. നോക്കൂ, ഇതിൽ ഒരു സസ്പെൻസ് പറഞ്ഞു. ഡൈവിങ്ങിൻ്റെ കാര്യം വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ എ കെ ചൗള പറഞ്ഞത് നിങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. ആൻഡ് സി, ഒരു സസ്പെൻസ് അതിനകത്ത് ഒളിഞ്ഞിരിപ്പുണ്ട്. കറാച്ചി ഓപ്പറേഷനെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ there is some suspense episode is there, and the suspense episode is Operation X. He will tell and he will break the suspense story of Operation X. അതിന് കൊച്ചിയുമായിട്ടൊരു കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്, നമ്മൾ നിൽക്കുന്ന ഈ സ്ഥലവുമായിട്ടൊരു കണക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. And he will tell the story, the suspense, he will break it. Let's move. 1971 ചരിത്ര വിജയത്തിന് ശേഷം അന്നത്തെ പ്രധാനമന്ത്രിയായിരുന്ന ഇന്ദിരാഗാന്ധി അന്നത്തെ ചീഫ് ഓഫ് നേവൽ സ്റ്റാഫ് അഡ്മിറൽ SM നന്ദയ്ക്ക് ഒരു കത്തെഴുതി. 1971 ഡിസംബർ മാസം 22-ാം തീയതി. ആ കത്തിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത് ഇങ്ങനെയാണ്: ഡിയർ അഡ്മിറൽ നന്ദ, the Navy's exploits in these 14 days of the fighting will long to be remembered. The achievements of our naval forces have thrilled the nation. Your leadership and the daring and the skill of our fleet have made the singular contribution to the success of the war on both fronts. I should like to express the gratitude of the government and the people of India to you and to your officers and men. It was in 1971. ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എക്സിലേക്ക് വരുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് ഖുക്രി എന്നൊരു ഷിപ്പിനെ കുറിച്ച് പ്രേക്ഷകർ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അതിലൊരു ക്യാപ്റ്റനുണ്ട്. അറിയപ്പെടുന്ന വലിയ താരങ്ങളൊന്നും തന്നെ നേവിയിൽ നിന്നില്ല എന്ന് നമ്മൾ പറയുമ്പോൾ അതിനകത്തൊരു തിരുത്തും കൂടിയുണ്ട്. ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ക്യാപ്റ്റൻ മുല്ല ആൻഡ് ക്യാപ്റ്റൻ സാവന്ത്, ഹൗ ഡിഡ് ദേ ഇൻസ്പയർ ദിസ് നേവൽ ലൈഫ്, and especially as an officer like Vice Admiral A.K. Chawla?
Both Captain Mulla and Captain Samant, both of them are no longer alive. obviously Captain Mullah died in 71 during the operations. They were both awarded
It was
the Mahavir
torpedoed, I
Chakra.
think. The Kukri
Yes.
ship was torpedoed.
Yes, so he was commanding the INS Kukri,
Oh.
and they were searching for a Pakistani submarine when unfortunately the ship was torpedoed. The main thing was that in that tragic episode
Yeah.
of the ship being torpedoed, Captain Mullah ensured in the true, spirit of a captain of a naval ship that he put the interests of his sailors and officers before his own life. And he stayed on the bridge of the ship, directing all the officers and sailors to evacuate, ensuring that they came out safely.
Oh,
And as a result, unfortunately, it was too late for him to leave.
oh, he saved the life of his fellow men,
Yes.
right?
So he saved the lives of his officers and men.
Oh.
Though he went down with the ship in the glorious traditions of
It's
the
a very
Navy.
thrilling moment. INS Kukri, led by Captain Mullah,
Mahendranath Mullah.
Mahendranath
So
Mullah.
he was awarded the Mahavir Chakra posthumously. And then, of course, you mentioned Captain Samant. Captain Samant was the person who led Operation X.
Okay, our story he will explain. ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവിക്ക് നൂറ്റാണ്ടുകളുടെ ചരിത്രമുണ്ട്. അതിൽ സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യത്തിന് മുൻപും ബ്രിട്ടീഷ് ഈസ്റ്റ് ഇന്ത്യ കമ്പനി അവരുടെ നേവൽ ഫോഴ്സ് ഇവിടെ സജ്ജീകരിക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് ഇന്ത്യയുടെ തന്നെ റൂളേഴ്സ് പല ഘട്ടങ്ങളിലും കടൽ തീരങ്ങളെ ശക്തമാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി സമുദ്രങ്ങളിൽ ഈ നാവികസേനയെ ശക്തമാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതിൽ ഒരു ശ്രദ്ധേയമായ പേരാണ് ശിവജിയുടേത്. ശിവജി 1647 ഏകദേശം 57ഓളം ഷിപ്പുകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതിലൊരു മോഡലാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ കണ്ട ഈ ബഗേല. ആൻഡ് നൗ വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ വിൽ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ദ ട്രാൻസിഷൻ ഫ്രം ബഗേല ടു ദ പ്രസന്റ്. Naval Force, Indian Navy underwent a drastic change from pre-independent period to the independent period and the post-independent period, especially post-Karachi or post-Trident period. The kind of development Indian Navy underwent. The path.
Absolutely. So starting off with a very small force of about 32 to 33 ships, which were actually ex-Second World War. They were in very bad shape. They were small sloops, a couple of small frigates, a few training establishments. Most of them had been in Karachi. The Indian Navy started growing. Our forefathers had a very good vision, and they envisioned a three-dimensional navy with aircraft carriers, submarines, and of course the surface ships. And with the slow availability of funds, it started growing. I think the landmark was in 1959 when we inducted the Vikrant.
That was a turning point, a milestone.
That's right. And the second turning point was in 1967 when the submarines were inducted.
2 years after the war.
Yes, shortly after the 1965 war. And these two were major milestones which brought the Navy's capability to the level that was required for modern warfare. The agreements that we had with the then Soviet Union to buy the missile boats, which played a key role, the agreements that we had to buy the submarines, which also played a very important role in the war that was to come. That entire thing, flowered into the Indian Navy, which then saw action in 1971 and resulted in the fruits.
I have heard the name Operation X when I referred 1971, Operation Trident. And actually, പ്രേക്ഷകരിലേക്ക് ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എക്സ് എന്നുള്ളത് 1971 പാകിസ്ഥാനുമായിട്ടുള്ള യുദ്ധത്തിനിടയിൽ കറാച്ചിയിൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവി നടത്തിയ അതിസാഹസികമായ ഡിസംബർ 4-5 തീയതികളിൽ നടത്തിയ ആ ആക്രമണത്തെ തുടർന്ന് കറാച്ചി ബേസിനെ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് നശിപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചത് 4 വെസലുകളാണ്. ഐ തിങ്ക് വി സാങ്ക് 4 വെസൽസ് ഓഫ് പാകിസ്ഥാനി നേവൽ ഫോഴ്സ്. അതിനുശേഷം ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എക്സ് എന്ന പേരിൽ നമ്മൾ കേൾക്കുന്ന ഒരു വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ത്രില്ലിംഗ് മൊമെൻ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. വാട്ട് ഡസ് ദിസ് ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എക്സ് മീൻ ആൻഡ് വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ സസ്പെൻസ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ്?
Operation X was a top secret operation to sabotage the marine capability of East Pakistan, which then existed. Both the wings of Pakistan, East and West, were separated by over 1300 kilometers. And the only way the Pakistanis could supply East Pakistan was by sea. Therefore, the sea route was critical to the sustenance of their forces in East Pakistan. But when they began their atrocities and the genocide in East Pakistan, which killed 3 million Bengalis and drove more than 8 million of them into exile as refugees in India, that's when the the Indian Navy came into action. Interestingly, it has got a very strong connection with Kochi. Because all the divers who took part, the clearance divers in this operation, were trained in the diving school in Kochi. The divers were trained here, and it was an audacious plan, Operation X, with a very small number of people who would have a disproportionate impact on the battle. So they got together a force of Bangladeshi naval officers and sailors who were disaffected obviously by what was happening there. They gathered a force of volunteers in West Bengal, in the state of West Bengal in India. Interestingly, in a place close to where the Battle of Plassey had happened in 1757. So they got all these people together, they trained them, and thereafter those people were deployed inside Bangladesh to sabotage the shipping, because Bangladesh being crisscrossed by multiple numbers of streams, rivers, etc. The entire transportation and interconnection was either by bridges or by barges. So these people actually sabotaged the maximum amount of shipping, close to 100,000 tons of shipping, in almost 9 months before the war began. So they were there operating much before. That's why it was a top secret operation. Nobody knew about it except 2 or 3 officers.
How long were they trained in Kochi?
The training in Kochi for the diving training lasts for about a year, and it is taken in various phases. But basically the entire training of the divers there, of the clearance divers who are used in underwater sabotage, happens here. And it was the indigenous mine that was designed and fabricated. You must read the book. I would urge the readers to read the book called Operation X, which has been written about it. Interestingly, by a son of Kerala, Sandeep Punithan. So, on the entire story of that operation. But that is one of the most unsung stories of the 71 war, and obviously because of its classification could not be revealed until 5 decades later. And now we are starting the celebrations of the Golden Jubilee of our grand victory in the 1971 war.
So that was very much instrumental in the or in deciding the fate of 1971 war, right?
Yes, actually what happened was that because of the enormous destruction that was undertaken in all the harbors, minor and major harbors of Bangladesh, then East Pakistan, destruction of bridges, the movement of the Pakistan army and their resupply from West Pakistan as also from the other countries was stopped. The Lloyd's insurance went up many times, so merchant ships stopped coming there. And so before the war began, Operation X was a crucial element. And of course after the war began, then the story of the aircraft carrier comes in, which
that in fact changed the face of Indian Navy.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
That is a great moment. നോക്കൂ, ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവിയുടെ വളരെ ഐതിഹാസികമായ 1971 വിജയത്തിന് നമ്മുടെ കൊച്ചി എങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു അടയാളപ്പെടുത്തൽ നടത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്ന്. ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ട ഡൈവേഴ്സാണ് ഈ സബോട്ടാജിന് വേണ്ടി, അട്ടിമറിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അന്ന് പോയിരുന്നത്. ദാറ്റ് വാസ് എ ത്രില്ലിംഗ് മൊമെൻറ്റ് ഫോർ ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവി. ദാറ്റ് വാസ് എ ത്രില്ലിംഗ് മൊമെൻറ്റ്. ലൈക്ക് ബലാക്കോട്ട ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ കേൾക്കുന്നു, അതിനേക്കാൾ ത്രില്ലിംഗ് മൊമെൻ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു 1971. ഐ തിങ്ക് that's a new lesson to the new generation people, that these people got trained in Kochi and then went with their operations. That's a great moment. And now we're moving into the second part. Where is Indian Navy now, and what are the new additions to the large spectrum of operations that Indian Navy is undergoing or carrying out? We will go into that. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ INS ദ്രോണാചാര്യ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സ്ഥലത്തേക്കാണ് പോകാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഇത് കൊച്ചിയിലുള്ള നേവൽ മ്യൂസിയമാണ് നിങ്ങൾ കാണുന്നത്. ഈ 1971 ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവിയുടെ ഈ വിജയത്തിന് 7 വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷമാണ് വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ AK Chawla joined Indian Navy. 7 years after that great moment, right?
Yes.
And very much thrilled about that, right?
Absolutely.
You were during the time, that time you may be doing your schooling or...
No, I joined the National Defence Academy in 1978. January 1978.
When you first heard about this Operation X, what was in your mind? Because
even I had never heard. I had never heard about it myself because it was so top secret. It was only declassified a few years ago. So when I heard about it, because I am also a diver, though I am not a clearance diver, I felt a moment of pride that Indian.
Oh, even the officers were not.
No.
Oh, okay, fine, that's great. നോക്കൂ, നേവൽ ഫോഴ്സിനുള്ളിലെ ഏറ്റവും ടോപ്പായിട്ടുള്ള ഓഫീസേഴ്സിന് പോലും ഇത് ഡീക്ലാസിഫൈ ചെയ്യാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് ഈ ഓപ്പറേഷൻ എക്സിനെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള വിശദാംശങ്ങൾ അറിയുമായിരുന്നില്ല എന്നാണ്. ദാറ്റ് വാസ് ദ ടോപ്പ് സീക്രറ്റ് ഓപ്പറേഷൻ carried out by Indian Naval Forces, the divers. Salute them. ഞങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത് കൊച്ചിയിലുള്ള ഈ സദേൺ നേവൽ കമാൻഡിലെ നേവൽ മ്യൂസിയത്തിലാണ്. പ്രേക്ഷകർക്കിത് എപ്പോൾ വേണമെങ്കിലും ഈ നേവൽ മ്യൂസിയത്തിലേക്ക് വരാം. ഒട്ടേറെ കാഴ്ചകളുണ്ട്, നേവിയുടെ അറിയേണ്ട ചരിത്രമുണ്ട്. അതിനിടയിൽ ഐ വാണ്ട് ആസ്ക് സം ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്, സം ക്യൂസിങ്സ്. ചില വാർഫ് മെറ്റീരിയൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലാത്തതുണ്ട്, പേരറിയാത്തവയുണ്ട്. ഫാറ്റ്മാൻ എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് പടങ്ങളിൽ. ഫാറ്റ്മാൻ, ലിറ്റിൽ ബോയ്, ന്യൂക്ലിയർ ബോംബ്, നാഗസാക്കി ഹിരോഷിമ എപ്പിസോഡിൽ ഇതേപോലെ ഈ ഫാറ്റ്മാൻ നാഗസാക്കി ഇരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആക്ച്വലി വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഇറ്റ്? ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് എ ന്യൂക്ലിയർ വാർഹെഡ്?
These are anti-submarine projectiles.
Okay.
They were called Limbos.
Okay.
And they were the ones actually which were fitted on Kukri.
Oh, okay.
Which went down.
Okay.
And these were the ones which were fired against submarines.
Oh, this one is fired?
Yes, fired from a ship.
Okay.
And it was fired into the water.
Okay.
Where it would go down at a preset depth. The depth was set here.
Okay.
And then this contained the explosive element.
Uh-huh.
And they would be fired in a pattern so that they would trap the submarine in between two layers.
Okay.
And then explode, and with the pressure,
Okay.
crush the hull of the submarine.
ഓ ഓക്കെ, ഫൈൻ. സബ്മറൈൻസിനെ തകർക്കുന്ന ഒരു ലിംബോ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു അമ്യൂണീഷനാണിത്. ഇതിൽ നിറയെ സ്ഫോടക വസ്തുക്കൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇത് നേരെ ഫയർ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം സബ്മറൈൻ്റെ ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ടച്ച് ദ സബ്മറൈൻ പാർട്ട്, റൈറ്റ്?
No.
No.
No, it was not designed to touch the submarine.
Okay,
It was just that, they'd be set at two different depths.
Okay.
With the submarine depth in between, which was detected.
ഓക്കെ. അതിൻ്റെ ഡെപ്ത് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി യു ക്യാൻ അറേഞ്ച് ദ ഡെപ്ത്. എത്രത്തോളം താഴേക്ക് പോകണം, അതായത് നമ്മുടെ ശത്രുപക്ഷത്തുള്ള സബ്മറൈൻ്റെ താഴേക്ക് ഈ ലിംബോ പോയതിനു ശേഷം ഈ ഡെപ്ത് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് മെഷർ ചെയ്തിട്ടായിരിക്കും അത് എക്സ്പ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. That's the way it operates. Wonderful. That's great.
And I would like to point out Operation Trident. These were the weapons, actually.
Oh, okay. 1971 കറാച്ചി ഓപ്പറേഷനിലെ താരമായ 2 മിസൈലുകൾ കൂടി വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ നമുക്ക് പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തും. Okay, I think these are the 2 missiles, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just explain how did they operate? Anti-ship missiles.
Anti-ship missiles. Everybody's heard about the famous Operation Trident, as we were talking about.
Yeah.
So these were the type of missiles that were fired from those missile boats. They were fired both against ships. They are principally anti-ship missiles, and you can see they carried a huge amount of explosive content,
Okay.
as also fuel. So one missile hitting the target was enough to destroy it, and they were fired very accurately, and they sank these 4 Pakistani ships and a few merchant ships, as also damaged a few ships inside the harbour.
Okay.
And very innovatively, they also used them to attack the oil dumps and ammunition dumps ashore.
Oh.
Which was not expected even by the Russians, who had designed these missiles.
1971 മുതൽ ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവി എത്രമാത്രം മാറി എന്ന് നമ്മളോട് വൈസ് അഡ്മിറൽ AK ചൗള വിശദീകരിക്കും. Could you please trace the transition Indian Navy has undergone since 1971?
Since 71 was actually a turning point in the growth and the strategy of the Navy. The Navy has grown manifold. We have acquired modern ships, modern aircraft. We have become technologically very advanced. Today we have satellite communication at sea with our own satellite. We have information technology of a very advanced level, which allows us to maintain maritime domain awareness of the seas around us. We have become the net security provider to all the smaller countries in the Indian Ocean region, because they trust a democratic India and a professional navy like the Indian Navy to sort of help them in their maritime requirements. So the Navy has grown manifold. It has become much more sophisticated, much more capable, and we have acquired a large amount of indigenous capability.
നമ്മളുടെ ഇന്ത്യൻ നേവി ലോകത്തെ മൊത്തം നേവൽ ശക്തികളുമായിട്ട് താരതമ്യപ്പെടുത്തിയാൽ 7ാം സ്ഥാനത്താണ് എന്നാണ് പറയപ്പെടുന്നത്. ഒരു ഒഫീഷ്യലായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു കണക്കൊന്നുമല്ല. കാര്യം നമ്മുടെ നേവിയിലെ നേവൽ ഓഫീസേഴ്സിൻ്റെ കരുത്ത് മറ്റൊരു രാജ്യങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കമ്പയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റതല്ല എന്നതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പോഴും കരുതുന്നത്. ബട്ട് സ്റ്റിൽ ഈ 7ാം സ്ഥാനത്ത് നിന്നും വി ആർ സ്ലൈറ്റ്ലി പ്രോഗ്രസിംഗ് ഇൻ ടു ദ 3rd or the 4th പൊസിഷൻ വിത്തിൻ 1 decade. I think you are also hopeful. We are achieving the 3rd largest or the strongest navy in the world. Right. For that purpose, I think there should be more aircraft carriers. For example, United States of America is having the aircraft carriers. The total number of aircraft carriers other nations are having. So, but India is having only 1 aircraft carrier. So the addition of more aircraft carrier, will it make any difference?
Yes, since our strategies of sea control, sea control can really only be achieved by an aircraft carrier based task force. The reason for that is very simple, that the shore based aircraft have a limited range,
Yeah.
which they can operate from land. Then they have to come back to land.
Yeah.
The range can be extended indefinitely into the sea if the aircraft are based on the ship,
Yeah.
on the aircraft carrier. So therefore, all these strong navies in the world, including now, as you can see, the Chinese Navy, they are going in for aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
Now we have been one of the earliest proponents of aircraft carrier navies from 1959 onwards. Currently, as you rightly said, we have one carrier, the Vikramaditya, Virat having been decommissioned. But the other one, Vikrant, the new Vikrant,
Yeah.
in its new avatar, is being built in Cochin shipyard
Yeah.
here in Kerala. It's a matter of pride. It is the largest warship ever to be built in India,
Oh.
in India's civilization actually.
Yeah. Great.
So it's a very prestigious shipbuilding project. We hope to see it sailing next year.
Oh, will be commissioned in the next year.
It'll start sailing.
Oh.
So let's see when the trials finish. The
Okay.
commissioning date has not yet been decided.
Okay.
But essentially, we need 3 aircraft carriers.
Oh, yeah.
One
At
on
least
each coast.
3.
At least 3. One on each coast. Because one will always be in repairs, and that will allow the carrier task forces to keep operating on either coast and allow the aircraft to keep flying. So if you really want to achieve sea control at sea,
Yeah.
you need an aircraft carrier, because the shore-based aircraft are limited.
Yeah.
And even with refueling capability, there's a finite limit beyond which they go back. So they may be at sea and available for operations for maybe 45 minutes or an hour at the most.
Yeah.
But there are 24 hours in one day.
Yeah.
So it's the aircraft carrier that actually is as you call, the queen of the seas.
Yeah, yeah. So, Vice Admiral A.K. Chawla, I want to salute you for this 50th year of the great pride you brought to the nation. 1971, that was a great moment as we shared. And could you please tell our viewers that what in fact really motivates you? Still at this age, you look very young, smiling, handsome.
No, thank you very much. No, actually, I think we should salute the people who fought the war, and the people, particularly those who laid down their lives. There were many people who laid down their lives and who continue to do so today in the service of the country. So they are the people who really are worthy of salute.